Hey guys, Tara here from Recovering Book Hoarder. Today is day 7 of Vlogmas, and we are going to talk about authors that I definitely need to read more of. So I have a list of 10 authors who I read 1 or 2 books from this year, and I fell in love with that one book I read. So I definitely want to see if I like the rest of their stuff. At this point, I can't call them one of my favorite authors because I've only read most of these. I've only read one. One of these authors I've read 2 of this year, but I feel like, you know, I need to read more before I can actually say, yes, favorite author. Let's get started. Okay, my first author is Britt Bennett. The book I read by her this year was The Vanishing Half, and it was one of those books that you continue to think about after you have finished it. So I read this one in November, and we're now into, you know, the second week, about to start the second week in December, and I'm still thinking about that book. It was just so good. There were so many twists and turns. Like, I feel like at the beginning of each chapter, I'd read the next line and I'd go, wait, what? And just be shocked. So I know that she has 2 other books, I believe, and she might have more than that. I just know I want to read more of Britt Bennett. The next author is Angie Thomas. This year I read The Hate You Give, and it was just so good. It was that book that when you finished reading it, you wanted to find other people that read it just so that you could talk about it. And I have the next one on the come up. I have that one, so I need to read that. And then Concrete Rose, which is a prequel about the dad, Maverick, is coming out in January or February, I believe. And I'm really excited for that one because I absolutely loved Maverick's character. I loved Maverick and Star's relationship in The Hate You Give. And it was just so good. And I have to say, too, I watched the movie not too long ago, and they did a fabulous job with that. It is not exactly the same, but it's really close, and I really enjoyed the adaptation. The third author I want to read more of is Jennifer Robeson. The book I read this year by her is The Gown, and that was a historical fiction, I guess it would be. And it was about the seamstresses that made Queen Elizabeth. Gosh, you're going to tell I'm not like into the royals. I think it's Queen Elizabeth. Who's the queen now? The seamstresses that made her dress. No, I'm sorry, not the seam. They were embroiderers. The embroiderers that made her wedding dress. And it's their story. There's dual timelines, dual perspectives, and it was just a really beautiful book, and I definitely want to read more from that author. Then we have Diane Sutterfield, and she wrote The 13th Tale. The 13th Tale was amazing. It was, again, one of those books that you just kept thinking about after you finished it, and I have no idea what else she's written, but I want to read more for sure. It was like kind of like a slow burn type of book. It was very atmospheric, great characters, really good story. Want more. Octavia Butler is the next one, and this year I read Kindred by her, which is sci-fi. It's time travel. The main character keeps getting pulled back into time. The main character is Black, and she's being pulled back into slave times at a plantation. And again, oh my God, it was one you just want to keep picking it up. You can't stop thinking about it while you're reading it. It was terrifying. Like, you were so worried about this character and what was going to happen to her. And it was so good. I know Octavia Butler has a lot of other books out. I have a few on my wish list that I know that I definitely want to get. A couple on my Christmas list this year. And yeah, author I need to have more of in my life. Then I have Emily Henry. She is the author that wrote Beach Read. And I'm not sure if she has anything else out, or if that was her debut novel. But I really love that novel. I loved her writing style. It was one of those books that makes you laugh, makes you cry, just have all the feels. She was just really, really good. And I enjoyed it so much. So I definitely want to read more from her. She would be like a contemporary romance kind of author. Kate Stayman-London wrote One to Watch. I believe that was her debut novel, and I liked that one a lot. I don't know if I liked it. I don't know if the reason I liked it was because of the mixed media that was in there as well. I really love it whenever books include like text messages and podcast episodes, blog posts, that kind of thing. I really, really enjoy that. And this book had that. I also loved having a plus size character. I love Bachelor, Bachelorette kind of behind the scenes type of thing. So I just found it so entertaining. I related to the character a lot as a fellow plus size woman. And I want to read more of what she writes. Symone St James. Whew. Edge of your seat. Edge of your seat. She writes psychological thrillers, and this year I read The Broken Girls and The Sundown Motel. I had initially tried to read The Broken Girls a while back and had a really hard time getting into it. Picked it back up again, and this time I absolutely loved it. Can't wait to read more from her. All right, Riley Sager. Read him? I think Riley Sager's... Oh, I don't know if Riley Sager's a guy or a girl. I think it's a guy. But I read Home Before Dark this year. And again, psychological thriller. Maybe horror? I guess probably horror is how I would classify it. And oh, there were scenes in that book that literally like made my skin crawl. But were so crazy that I really wanted to like tell other people about them. So the one scene from there, I know this is an author. My mom's not into those kind of books. So I knew it was safe to like do a spoiler. And I told her about this one scene and she was like, please, I don't want to picture that. But it was just so outrageous. Worked very well in the book, but so outrageous that like you have to talk about it with somebody. So I definitely want to read more from Riley Sager. I know that there are several more of his books out there. Then the last author is Deshaun Charles Winslow. And the book I read from him is called In West Mills. I believe that was his debut novel. I had to find a book to read for my Always Fully Booked challenge, reading challenge this year, that was a book nominated for an award in 2019. So I just kind of did a search, and this was one of them that I found. It's a fairly short book, but it's so wholesome. It starts with a character who's in, I want to say, her 20s, who's estranged from her biological family, and is living in this town called West Mills. And it's about all the characters in the town. She's the main character, but then it talks about everybody else in the town, and it sees them all the way through until they're like in their 90s. And you love these characters. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's like an easy read. It's an easy, feel-good, character-driven story. And I want more of those characters. But it's a standalone. But I definitely want to see what else Deshaun Charles Winslow has. So he's on my list as well. All right, so those are the top 10 authors that I need to read more of. Have you read any of these authors? Do you think I made a mistake? Are there books from these authors that you're like, yes, you definitely need to read this one next? Let me know down in the comments. I love interacting with you guys. Don't forget to check out my giveaway, which is over on Vlogmas Day 3. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.